All right. We are live. We are live. What's up, fam? How you guys doing today? Welcome to the Loreverse live podcast. It's your boy Stevie Hayes. Sorry, I got to move my mic around here. Hope you guys doing good, man. Hope you guys had a great week. We're here on our Thursday show just to give an update on Dallas and Carter. They both got stuff going on. Dallas is at work right now, and Carter had some personal stuff going on. So it's me tonight on the Thursday show, but that's totally fine because we're gonna hit these daggers, we're gonna hit these topics. You don't see the guys on Tuesday. So hope you guys doing well. I miss my boys, but we're gonna make this thing happen regardless. So we have a nice filled docket to talk about tonight. We have a few things that we're gonna be touching on, a lot of MCU stuff. Really not even MCU, a lot of Spider-Man stuff. Guess we're gonna cover the Spider-Noir trailer, all that. Let me take off this real quick. I'm a little hot today. We gonna take this off and we gonna get right to business. Hold up. Let's get it, man. There we go. We lit. But yeah, man, everything's good, man. I said we have a lot of things to cover tonight, and I have some extra topics that I want to talk about too. Talk about maybe some state of play games, some trailers that came out. We know the God of War trilogy is getting remade, which is crazy, and we're gonna talk about some other things too. But please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post. And yeah, let's get right into it. So to start this off, okay, Spider-Man's wild, bro, because I think that Spider-Man 4 is the biggest mystery when it comes to just MCU content right now. Because I feel like with Avengers Doomsday, right, we got the teaser, and obviously there's a lot of mystery when it comes to what we think this trailer is going to be, or what we think this movie is going to be, what the plots are. There's 1,000 theories. We have all speculated all of these things when it comes to Avengers Doomsday, but I do think the biggest question right now is what the heck is going on with Spider-Man Brand New Day? And where that question comes from is, number one, what's going on with the trailer? I think that's the biggest question that a lot of fans have, because we have yet to get a Spider-Man trailer, which is kind of insane that, this movie is how many months out? This movie comes out in June or July. This is a summer movie, and we have yet to see a trailer. They also skipped the Super Bowl, which is crazy, which to me, I think was a smart move, because it's like, who cares about the Super Bowl at that point? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like the only thing we've seen, right, is a leaked trailer, and we saw the one teaser clip with Tom Holland running out as Spider-Man, and we got a bunch of leaked set photos that fans took of Spider-Man, and they obviously used that to like press run Spider-Man Brand New Day, which it got a lot of buzz that happened in December. But there has been a lot of rumors in regards to Spider-Man. And one of the biggest questions about Spider-Man Brand New Day is not really Spider-Man Brand New Day, but what's going to happen after Spider-Man. And the biggest question in regards to Spider-Man right now is, why is he not in Avengers Doomsday? So we're just tall telling the history of what's happened with Spider-Man. So when we talk about Avengers Doomsday, we got that 4-hour chill reveal that we did live stream. But by the way, we live streamed all like 4 hours. Derpy jumped on. It was a fun time, but we live streamed all of those hours. And what ended up happening was Tom Holland's name did not pop up, and all the fans were shook and stressed out, because at first Spider-Man Brand New Day was supposed to come out after Avengers Doomsday, and that was going to be the in-between movie for Secret Wars and Doomsday. But now Spider-Man Brand New Day got moved up to come out before Avengers Doomsday, which I think is the smart move. And so now, in regards to that, we're like, why is Peter Parker not possibly in Avengers Doomsday? And it doesn't seem like Tom Holland went to film, because we have no news about that. The only possible thing to Tom Holland filming at Doomsday is the fact that he was in London. He was in London for a bit. And London is where they are filming. I'm pretty sure where they filmed Avengers Doomsday. They're doing some reshots right now, and I'm probably more than sure that that's where they're going to film Secret Wars as well. So there's also that question. So now I say all that to bring it back to bring it back full circle here. Now this is where we are. So now we get this crazy rumor today that, and I'll read a detail for a detail, that the Hulk reportedly kills Spider-Man in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Then in Secret Wars, the symbiote revives him. That is the rumor that came out today. Now, a lot of us had a feeling that Peter Parker was going to die and the symbiote was going to resurrect him, very similar to the Avengers Secret War story, if you guys have read that. And I'm more than sure we're going to do a whole breakdown of that eventually on the whole Secret Wars comic after Doomsday. Now, here's the thing about Spider-Man dying in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Number one, from a fan standpoint, that will be one of the boldest moves ever. I think it will be one of the boldest moves to kill off Spider-Man in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Number one, because going into Avengers Doomsday, you could make an argument that it is stupid that they wouldn't use Tom Holland Spider-Man in Doomsday. Using Tom Holland Spider-Man in Doomsday guarantees that a bunch of fans will come. Not saying that fans don't care about Steve Rogers or Tony Stark, because I mean they're going to come in droves for them, but like having Tom Holland Spider Man in your Avengers movie is a smarter move. So you got to have some cojones to not involve Tom Holland Spider Man. That number one. Then we got number two. Number two is, how is this going to work from a story standpoint? Now, now in my brain, I've made this make sense a little bit, so I'm going to share with you what I've been thinking. So number one, let's talk about the elephant in the room for Spider-Man Brand New Day. That is Sadie Sink's character. Can we all agree? Sadie Sink's character is the biggest what if MacGuffin or whatever you want to call it for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think she's the biggest question for Spider-Man. We don't know who she is, but based on if what we heard about the character that Tremel Tillman is playing, which is some mutant freaking anti-mutant guy, if that's true, it's looking like Sadie Sink is going to be Jean Grey. And the theory that I have going around, and I'm not saying that like, and that's it, I'm pretty sure other people have said this too. This is pretty much common sense. If she is Jean Grey, I don't think she's the villain, but I think she might be portrayed as the villain. But what I do think is happening is that Jean Grey is actually going to mess with the mind of Bruce Banner, which makes him turn into the Hulk. But I do not think the Hulk is going to be in the whole entire movie. I think they're going to save the Hulk for the final battle in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that is what is going to kill Peter Parker Spider-Man. That's what I think. I think Peter Parker Spider-Man will get killed by the Hulk. And someone commented on my TikTok saying that might be one of the things that drives the Hulk into a recluse mode to where he's not involved in Avengers Doomsday in like the first half of it, which I could see happening as well. But I do think, so Jean Grey could go into the mind of the Hulk, mess with him, or Bruce Banner, mess with him. He becomes a Hulk in the end, kill Spider-Man. And then that could take Spider-Man out for right now. We know that the symbiote is on Earth right now. The symbiote is on Earth. It's in the MCU. So the symbiote could come to Spider-Man. He gets resurrected, but that scene happens in another situation. But we could still see maybe the scene of him. We maybe see like the scene of him popping up, which would be freaking crazy if that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because then that would be like insane. Now, with Spider-Man being dead, here's the question that I want to ask you guys, right? When it comes to the death of, when it comes to the death of Spider-Man, do you guys think that would hurt Avengers Doomsday? Or do you think it will make people way more interested into what happens in Avengers Doomsday? See, I think the death of Peter Parker, of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Brand New Day will make Avengers Doomsday 10 times more interesting. And I wouldn't be shocked if they give us a futuristic view of him getting to the symbiote and coming alive, just to be safe with fans. I would not be shocked about that either, because of the fact that Spider-Man is the most important character ever. Him and Batman, two most important characters ever. So I think that, we're going to see something interesting going on where we're going to see Peter Parker kind of, die, but I think the symbiote will resurrect him and he will be back. And that'll lead us into a Secret War situation where Peter Parker's 10 times more stronger, and not to mention the other side plot. Not to mention he has to fight against the Hand. Spider-Man has a lot going on. I mean, the Hand, the Punisher. There's also this whole thing about, him possibly turning into a spider. There's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about that in the next topic when we talk about the organic webbing situation. So Extinction said, hey, what's up, bro? Where are the other criminals? Dallas is working right now, and Carter is doing something very important. I'm not going to share because that's a private matter. But yeah, so Tuesdays, just so you guys know, Tuesdays is our main show day. That's where the whole gang is on. It's where we hang out and talk. And with Thursday, it's kind of like whoever's available show up. Dallas is usually available on Thursdays, but he has a new job, so he has to get that whole situation figured out. But Thursday is like our extra show where we just want to give you guys more news and more content, because we understand that news drops frequently throughout the week, and we don't want to wait a whole week to get to, like, when there's new topics, we don't always want to wait till next Tuesday. You know what I mean? So if one of us could jump on this and do it, so some days you might see me, some days you might see Carter and Dallas. It just depends on what happens. But this is just our extra show to give you guys some information. And as this show grows, our goal is to stream on here 4 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week, so we can give you guys the new content that's dropping every single day. So, okay, but I was right about Mephisto. I still can't spell, but it's okay. Yes, and you are right about that. I think we talked about that on Tuesday, but you are right about that rumor that came out about Mephisto will be involved with Spider-Man in the future, probably post Secret Wars and Deadpool as well. And look, the Mephisto story with Spider-Man is one of the most divisive stories in comics because it breaks up Peter and MJ, and fans were pissed. But I think that'll be fun to see in comic form or in movie form, because look, imagine if Peter gets MJ back again and then they break up again. Like, it'll piss fans off, but I think that's the beauty of cinema, bro, and of story and of narrative plot. So, and plus Aunt May's dead, so it's the perfect time. And I'm pretty sure what happened in the comics is Mephisto, I think I forget if Aunt May died or if she was dying. I really can't remember which one, but Aunt May's dead right now. So so Mephisto could bring Aunt May back, and that could cause a whole entire situation in the story. Who knows? But that would be fun. But we'll see what happens. I'm open to either thing happening. I really don't care, honestly. And not, I don't care in a bad way. Like, we'll see, man. We're getting three more Spider-Man films. Count me in. Okay, now next topic here is Spider-Man with organic webbing. Okay, now this came out, I think today or yesterday. I can't remember. So now, whenever it comes to MCU and Marvel movies, right? There's always going to be a situation where we get leaked stuff, right? And the reason why we get a lot of leaks is because when these movies are happening, there's a thing called press runs. And with press runs, there comes collabs with other brands, where other brands are going to promote the movies on their products. And Spider-Man is the most marketable superhero in the business. Well, I think more marketable than Batman. And so on these Takis, I don't know if you guys like Takis, but on these Taki bags, we get a look at Tom Holland Spider-Man. Not only that, we get a look at the webbing, and the webs are not coming out of a web shooter in this picture, which means that Tom Holland is most likely going to switch to organic webbing for Spider-Man Bernadette. Now, what does organic webbing mean? Organic webbing, in layman's terms, means that, okay, in Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw how Tom Holland Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, they were talking to Toby, and they were like, dang, like, we have to make our own webs. And Toby were like, yeah, like, webbing for me is like breathing. It just comes out of me. And they were obviously freaked out and making jokes about it. But that's what's going to happen to Tom Holland. He's going to be like Toby in the sense that the webbing will be coming out of him. He's going to create it himself. He doesn't have to go in a lab and make webs anymore. So that's a big deal. Okay. And if this is, and the reason why this photo is so important, because if this is true, then it also might be true that Peter Parker is becoming a spider. And look, that might sound stupid to you guys, but that's the truth of what this could possibly mean. So if Peter is becoming a spider, this is exhibit A of this possibly happening, which is the organic webbing. So if that's true, this picture might be the proof of that, which means a lot of the other leaks are going to be true, which is that, Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, all the multiple villains and characters that are popping up. This is going to be, I think, the best Spider-Man movie. And let me just talk about Spider-Man, because I believe in this movie so much, mostly because Destin Cretton is an amazing director. Okay. He's done an amazing job with freaking, what was the movie? With Shang-Chi. And Wonder Man, even though Wonder Man isn't my cup of tea as a project, the project is good. It's a good show. And he did a great job when he directed that. And with Spider-Man, I think it's going to be the greatest Spider-Man film of all time. Not to mention, the Jackie Chan stunt team showed up to do stunts there. He's fighting against ninjas in the hand. Oh my, bro. We are about to see some true cooking in this freaking movie, bro. So I'm really excited. I really do believe in this movie. And I think the organic webbing adds an element to the Spider-Man movie that I think a lot of fans aren't going to be expecting. Because look, we are all sweats, right? Which means that we dive deep into the lore, into all of these things. But for the regular fan, they're not thinking about this. So I think the regular fan is going to be also really excited to see, Spider-Man's webbing becoming organic, even if they might not care. And look, if they just made it an automatic thing, we would have known. By the way, guys, if you hear my baby crying, just let you know, anytime my baby gets a bath, he always cries while he's getting changed. So if you hear him crying, that's why. My wife is probably drying him and changing him right now. He is the funniest baby ever, bro. But yeah, the normal fan wouldn't care about Spider-Man's webbing, but it is a very important thing. So let's see. Um, Great value Spider-Man. Are you saying Tom Holland is the great value Spider-Man? That's a wild take, bro. Get on the Wonder Man train. Look, I think the Wonder Man show is good, bro. I really do. I think the Wonder Man show is a really good show, but it's just not my cup of tea. And there are a lot of shows that aren't my cup of tea that I can say is a good show. Prime example, the whole Dark Knight trilogy. I despise the Dark Knight trilogy. I really do. I can't stand it. But I would never go and say that the Dark Knight movies are bad because they're not inherently bad. This is not my cup of tea. I have to curve my bias when I'm judging if a movie is good or not, because a movie being good or not isn't decided upon my taste and upon things that I think are good. A movie is bad standing on its own merit. Like, is the plot cohesive? When it comes to superhero movies, is there enough action? It's a lot of what's the word? It's a lot of things that make me decide whether a project is good or not. That's not based from my bias. Because and look, I'm not a journalist, so I don't care about being right or wrong or having all of the right information. Like, some of these creators, they'll come in here and act like they're like a journalist. Like, bro, if you're not a journalist, bro, you're a YouTuber, which I'm a YouTuber. But I do try to be as unbiased as possible when I'm trying to give takes, because I think that's fair. And then I'll tell you when I'm being biased. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now, next topic here. This is gonna be a long one because the Russos talked a lot. Okay, so the Russos, they have shared a lot of extensive details about Avengers Doomsday across a lot of high profile interviews. But most recently, as of yesterday, the Empire magazine and Esquire, they had conversations to clarify, talk about their decision to return and some of that. So let I'm gonna read you guys the key highlights from this interview. So number one, let's talk about their return. So Joe and Anthony Russo confirmed that it took a little time to view the MCU as anything other than a finished chapter after Endgame. They only agreed to return after Stephen McFeely pitched an explosive idea for Secret Wars that activated them creatively. Now, they also talked about Steve Rogers being a central role, okay? And they confirmed that Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, is the emotional core of Doomsday. And despite passing the mantle to Sam Wilson, the story reportedly centers on a retired Steve living in a peaceful life with his infant child until Doctor Doom disrupts it. Okay, and they also state that Doomsday is bigger than anything that they've ever done, surpassing the scales of Infinity War and Endgame. And I mean, come on now, it's obviously going to be larger. They also talked about RDJ Dr. Doom, saying that they described the process of developing Downey's new character as very intense, and noting that he is so immersed and dialed into this new villainous persona. And also they also explained their marketing strategy. And they explained that the teaser trailers released thus far are not just marketing, but narrative information includes that suggest that the Doomsday event has already begun for fans, which is why we're talking about it right now. Now, let's talk about the main takeaway from this. And the main takeaway that I think comes from this is, why the heck is Captain America Steve Rogers the center and the emotional core of this freaking movie? And a lot of people will ask that question, because why? Right? He passed the mantle on to Sam. Why bring back Steve Rogers? Okay. Number one, Steve Rogers needed to come back because he's the center of the MCU, baby. Him and Tony Stark right now. And they didn't do a good job of selling us on these new characters. They didn't. So they had to bring it back. I think for that reason. But I do think that they were always going to come back, because this is the biggest event of all time. And this might be the biggest event of all time that we'll ever see. So in order for that to happen, you have to have Steve Rogers, Captain America. Now, why is Steve Rogers so important though to this movie? Now, let's remove the emotional person. Now let's remove emotion and let's talk about the rumor story. The rumor story is this: when Steve Rogers went back in time to return the stones, after he returned the stones, what did Steve Rogers do? Steve Rogers ended up going and starting his own life with Peggy Carter. What happens though when he starts that life with Peggy Carter? He messes up, right? And what happens is Steve Rogers, because he went to go start a life with Peggy Carter, he now is in a situation where basically, how can I say this? Like, he created a branch timeline, that is apparently the starter of the multiverse breaking. And for some odd reason, which I want to know why, the TVA didn't stop it, which they pruned everything. And my theory on that is just that I think that, and my theory is, I think that Loki, and this is a wild take, But I've been saving this for a video, but I'm gonna say this here. My theory is that when Loki in the last season of Loki, when he took all of those stranded timelines, I think Steve Rogers' timeline was the first one, and I think that Steve Rogers making his branch timeline that didn't get pruned, and Loki becoming basically the god of stories, all happened synonymously. So that was the first branch timeline that didn't get pruned. That would be the only way to make sense of it, because in that case, we would have saw the branch in the Loki show, but we didn't, right? But I think we did see the branch, right? When Loki grabbed, I think it's the first stranded reality he grabbed, which could be the incubator of the destruction of the multiverse. And I put out a whole video on, I think, Monday, talking about how what Loki did is also a bad, like what Loki did is not good, and a lot of people think that what Loki did is a good thing. And the reality is, guys, it's really not. Loki trying to quote unquote preserve the multiverse, what did not save it. He actually made it, Loki sped up even faster. You know what I'm saying? And Doctor Doom is going to show us, why that is. But now let's bring in the emotion now. The emotional core of this is Steve Rogers is in a pickle. Option one, right? You prune your universe, you prune your branch timeline, which means his kid and Peggy are gone. There's no more kid and wife no more. Because if you allow them to leave and go to another Earth, that starts an incursion, which means that Steve will have to abandon his family, which is crazy from the guys of Steve Rogers. So that's a bad thing, number one. Then we got the second thing, number two, which is the fact that, Steve Rogers keeps his family and they fight against it. But I think a lot of Avengers, some Avengers will side with them, some will not. I think Sam Wilson is one of those people that won't side with Captain America, and they might fight each other over this. And so there's going to be a lot of, civil war going on behind the scenes between the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men, and also the Thunder, the new Avengers, whatever they are, the Thunderbolts, new Avengers. So that's the emotional core. Steve Rogers having to figure that out. And what is Steve Rogers going to do? Because we know Steve Rogers. We've seen Steve Rogers in movies for a decade. Let me tell you what Steve Rogers is going to do. Steve Rogers is going to try to save everybody. Because that's what he does. And why would Steve Rogers try to save everyone? Because it worked in Endgame. When he fought against Thanos, it worked. And I think the lesson Dr. Doom is trying to teach them, not everybody's going to get saved. And then this brings in the X-Men, right? A lot of people don't understand what's going on with the X-Men. The X-Men are freaking evil. The X-Men are now going to be people that we root for in Avengers Doomsday. And I said this even before the rumor came out. They've been destroying Earths. Not to mention the new rumor that came out says that they destroyed countless Earths, which means trillion upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions. So what does that mean? Our X-Men are evil, and the way that they do it, which is the perfect way that Magneto says, and that's why Ian McKellen said, I just destroyed New Jersey. This is why. Because what they're doing is they are sending a group of mutants to Earth to fight against that Earth's defender, and then they kill that defender and destroy the Earth, which explains that rumor of Tobey Maguire dying in Avengers Doomsday and his Earth being wiped out. Because Doc Ock probably does some research, then warns him, boom, gets killed. Goodbye, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. Makes total sense. And look, could Tobey come back? Could they grab another variant? Of course. But it makes sense of why he's going to get cooked because of that fact. So, dude, this movie's going to be insane. Bros and sisters, this movie's going to be so nuts. Like, the amount of stuff that's going to be in this movie is going to be so rich. Like, it's going to be like Infinity War and a game all over again, but times like 5. Because, guys, we're getting the freaking mutants. We're getting the Fantastic Four. Doctor Doom, Iron Man come back. Oh, bro, this movie is going to be insanity, bro. And we haven't even talked about Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange and Clea, right? Doctor Strange is probably going to take Doctor Doom's side. Another situation of influence for what direction they're going to go. So there's a lot going on, Dang, this movie's about to go stupid, bro. It is, bro. There's a lot going on that just a lot of people don't know. And if they land these things, man, it's going to be crazy. All right, let's get to the next topic here for you guys. Okay, so we got some Sony stuff. So Sony confirmed that Spider-Punk and Spider-Gwen, both of these projects are in development. So let me tell you guys a bit about that. So just Now, just to be clear, these projects are a part of an expanded Spider-Verse strategy following the massive success of these two movies. We've already seen one with Spider Noir, which we're going to watch the full trailer next and then break it down. But what we also see right here is now let's talk about the Spider-Punk animated feature. Okay, number one, Daniel Kaluuya is co-writing the script alongside Ajahn Singh, and they're the creator, and he's the creator of Primetime. And Kaluuya is also expected to reprise his role. Also, another big thing here, the project is in its final stages as of and they submitted a first draft late last year. And the film will center on Earth 138's punk rock hero and is expected to maintain the rebellious themes and bold animation styles of the original character. Let me just tell you, whatever they do, a show or extended feature, that Spider-Punk's going to go crazy. There's a lot of Spider-Punk fans out there, and yeah, fans are going to be mad excited. Now, let's talk about the Spider-Gwen spinoff. So the current state right now is that the Sony Animation presidents, they confirmed that this project is obviously active. While often referred to as a Spider-Gwen solo movie, reports do suggest it may be titled Spider-Woman and could potentially feature other female heroes like Jessica Drew and Silk. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And Haley Steinfeld has reportedly been in talks to lead the project, continuing her role from the Spider-Verse trilogy. Yeah, I mean, it's really smart. Now, let's talk about the wider universe context, right? Now, we know that the main trilogy for the Spider-Verse ends, or we know that the end of the Spider-Verse trilogy is June 18th, 2027. Spider Noir is a part of this, and Spider-Man Brand New Day is a part of this. This is a part of the Sony Spider umbrella. They are actually giving us spider characters. You know what they did that was stupid, but with the SUMC, the Sony universe of Marvel characters, they tried to build a villain universe, which was stupid. You can't build a villain universe without Spider-Man. Impossible. And so now we are seeing the inner works of this, and I think that Spider Noir is a trial run of what they're going to do in the future. And I think the future is Miles Morales being the main Spider-Man of the Sony Marvel universe. And I think that's smart. I think Miles is important, and you got to have the Spider-Verse writers behind this, which they did with Spider Noir. So we got to see how that turns out, because I do think animation to live action is a big jump. We saw Dave Filoni have to adapt to that, and we saw some I won't say big mistakes, but we saw where some of it lacked in Dave Filoni's work, because he's just an animated guy. Live action is a whole different situation. So we'll see. And we'll see in this trailer just a piece of what that looks like when it comes to these Spider-Verse projects that are coming out. But they know what they're doing, though, man. They know what they're doing. And let me talk about something else that's funny. Isn't it funny how we have multiple Spider projects in the MCU, but when it comes to the DCU, they got to be kind of separate. And maybe it's because one's live action and one's animated. Maybe that's the thing. But we are going to live action Spider Noir, but who knows? All right, now let's get into the Spider Noir trailer. We're gonna watch the trailer right now, and I'll give you my opinion. All right, let's watch the trailer in 3, 2, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Spider Noir trailer. So before we get into breakdown, let me give you my opinion about this. I think the trailer is good. I really do. I think that it's good for what it is. I still don't agree with Nick Cage playing Pippin Riley. I just think he's an old man. Why would you put an old man in that role? Whatever. We're just gonna pretend that Nicolas Cage is the one that's fighting and web swinging and all that. But it's okay. And I am open to seeing what they're gonna do with Spider Noir. But I'm sold on the story. I think the writing's gonna be great. I think they're gonna hit all those. I just have some of the shots definitely in color were just a little suspect. So. But let's break down the top 5 trailer details to me. Number 1 is the Ben Reilly twist. So, unlike the comics and the animated version, Nicolas Cage plays Ben Reilly instead of Peter Parker, and he's an aging, down on his luck private investigator in 1930s New York. He struggles with tics, thoughts, and impulses that he can no longer suppress. Why choose Ben Reilly? Probably because they just didn't want to use Peter Parker. I get it. And also this project will be available in both black and white and in true hue full color, which is dope. The villains that were revealed. Okay, number 1, we have Sandman, played by Jack Houston. We have Cat Hardy, and this is a lounge singer and chant use, and she's a singer at a premiere of the nightclub. Okay, serving as a riff on Black Cat. We also have potential rogues. So fans also spotted like Electro, Molten Man, possibly Vulture, and also like the trailer subverts like the iconic Spider-Man mantra with the tagline "With no power comes no responsibility." Also kind of dark, so I'm pretty hyped to see what that has to do. And then also from a practical status, like or from a practical thing, it seemed like the stunts are very practical. So like it seems like they're breaking from that CGI, you know, heavy stuff that we always see in Marvel. And the trailer showcases a lot of practical effects, practical fighting, and I love the suit. I mean, I actually have the Fortnite skin of the suit as well, and it's pretty awesome. Now premiere information. This comes up May 25th. This comes out May 25th, 2026, and I'm pretty sure they're doing a binge release on Prime Video the next day, May 27th. So this is dope. Okay, I think this is cool. I think if this is successful, this is going to push Spider-Man forward in a big way. How, I don't know, but I think Sony has a plan to use this to test the waters on what they could do with a live action show. And if this works, I think we're going to see a lot of that. Like, if this works, we're definitely getting Spider-Gwen and Spider-Punk are definitely going to be shows. They're not going to be movies. And I think they're going to do a lot of, Spider show stuff. Like, don't be shocked if we get a Spider 2099, or even if they do like a Scarlet Spider, Ben Riley. I think that could happen. I really do. As I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Nicolas Cage. I really am not. Like, I really am not the biggest fan of his work. But I think he's going to do a great job here. And I think a lot of fans don't care. And not to mention the web slinging scene. Some of my friends hated on it. Some of my friends called it mid. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was that bad. So I thought the web swinging scene was dope. We'll just have to see more of what this is going to be. So I can't wait. And I'm definitely going to binge this, though. I'm definitely going to watch this all in one shot. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that. All right. Next topic here. Let's talk about some mutants. So this part of news is the mutants will develop solo series on the MCU, will develop solo series on certain mutants. Now, this is crazy. And this is crazy because we've heard this before. You know what I mean? And I feel like these guys recycle news to make it seem like it means something. You know what I mean? So let's talk about this quick. This is obvious. We're going into the mutant saga after Secret Wars. So obviously they're going to do some mutant projects. But what makes it interesting is, what is it going to be? Is it going to be the Brotherhood? Yes, it should be. We need Magneto stuff. Is it going to be a lot of separate Wolverine stuff? Don't know. Are we going to get a Rogan Gambit freaking show? Hope not, but who knows? So the way that I would do it is you would just shop the mutants to join different teams for certain times, like Wolverine. If you guys know, like, he's back and forth. Sometimes he's an X-Men, sometimes he's an Avenger. It just depends on, who's writing the story for real, There's other teams that you could be a part of. Maybe, Cyclops diverts from the X-Men for a little bit because he's in crash out mode and he's doing his own thing. Don't know. But we should expect them to have, their own projects. Like, come on, bro. It's not rocket science. Do you think we're going to get a brand new day trailer tomorrow or over the weekend? I don't think we're going to get a trailer. I hope, but I haven't heard anything about it. And if we were getting a Spider-Man brand new day trailer, we would have known a couple days in advance. If we go by the Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer, we knew 2 weeks before it came out. And I promise you, but I feel like, but I technically already saw the trailer, because the trailer got leaked. But I don't think we're getting a trailer till maybe next week or maybe the week after. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But then again, think about this: Spider-Man Noir, and if that state of play document I saw was true, there's going to be a Spider-Man 3 trailer, Wolverine trailer. Sony will be. Excuse me, y'all. Sony will be smart to do a Spider-Man brand new day trailer to end because then it will be a week of Spider-Man. We get Spider-Man Noir trailer, Spider-Man 3 video game trailer, and then Tom Holland Spider-Man trailer. Will be a week of Spider-Man. Why not? I think it will be dope. All right. Now we're gonna get some fantasy stuff, man. We're gonna talk about Harry Potter. Okay, so we were supposed to talk about this on Monday, but I was just so tired because I had a long day, so I wasn't able to get to it. Now, let's talk about this. So, the new Draco Malfoy star Locks Press says HBO's Harry Potter show will be so much more than the books. And he says you get to see all the teachers in their little rooms and you get to see Draco at home. Now, a lot of fans are like, what does this mean? So let me break it down for you, Harry Potter fans. What he is saying about this is that, if you guys don't know, in the books and the movies, pretty much, let's go by the movies. But in the movies, we see everything through Harry Potter's perspective. We don't see the extra stuff that happens. And what this show is going to do is it's going to give us more than Harry Potter's perspective. And obviously, there's points in the movies where we saw other perspectives that were not Harry's, obviously. But 99% of the Harry Potter movies are his perspective. So when he says this, what we're going to see is, when it comes to Malfoy's manner, right? We are going to see a situation where we're going to see what forms Draco. We are going to see how he was raised. We are going to see what his father, puts on him to make him act the way he does. And I think it's going to, make Draco Malfoy seem like a tragic character in a real way, because Draco is only the thing about Draco, and I'm not sure if like J.K. Rowling was trying to write this in a very deep way, but the way that I view Draco is that Draco is a product of what he was raised in. He's a douche because he was raised by douches. You know what I mean? He's a rude person. He was raised by rude people. And, he's like the little, rich kid with no manners. He's just a rude kid. And a lot of us view Draco as the annoying character. But I think if we see the background of him, the way his dad treats him, the way his mother treats him, I think it's going to change the dynamic of how we view Draco. And I think it's going to make Draco more of a tragic character. And it's going to change our viewpoint of Draco through the show, which I don't think is breaking any bylaws. It's just a different perspective. I think because I do think that we start feeling bad for Draco towards the end of the movies, right? Even with the whole Dobby the Elf thing, right? Like, you can feel bad for that too. But I do think, like, if you get to see what's going on in the house of Draco Malfoy, whole different way of viewing him as a character, which is where the question in. I don't think I've watched Harry Potter from the angle of viewing Draco Malfoy as a tragic character, and I think this will do that. The shows will have us view him as a tragic character. That doesn't change the way he acts, but it will change the way that we view him in a very poetic way. And then when it comes to Hogwarts, right? Because he talked about the fact that, we're going to see the teachers in their little rooms. Imagine us getting to see Snape talk with Professor McGonagall and Dumbledore in private, and hear, some of the memories that they have during the war, some of the ways that they're coping with these things, even the ways that they talk about Harry Potter. Because, I mean, Harry Potter is going to be like the brink of a lot of their discussion. So imagine us hearing what they're saying about Harry during the Sorcerer's Stone, during the Chamber of Secrets. And what if they knew, like, what if we get to see, like imagine the angle, right, of Harry Potter where we get to see Dumbledore watching every step that Harry makes. Because in the movies, right, and even in the books, it's hinted that Dumbledore knows what's going on. Obviously, he does, right? And if you don't know, obviously, like, the Chamber of Secrets is pretty much a telltale sign that Dumbledore knows what's happening. But think about if we get to see Dumbledore actually seeing what Harry's going through and seeing his struggles, and even see how Dumbledore secretly helps him in ways that we didn't even know in the movies. That is a perspective that's going to be fire. And that's why I think the Harry Potter perspective for the series is going to be freaking awesome. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. And I think that's very, very exciting for a lot of us fans of Harry Potter. Because look, I mean, a lot of people try to trash the movies to make the show, feel good. And I don't have to do that. But one thing that we are going to get, and look, I don't blame them, because it's hard to put a lot of material into, 1-2 hour movie, so we get the opportunity, we're going to get the opportunity to see more. But I also think that, like, we're going to see a different perspective of everyone. And, like, because there is a side of the Harry Potter fandom that views Dumbledore as evil. Shocking, but true. And I think after this show, a lot of fans are going to change their minds about that, because Dumbledore wasn't evil. He was kind of harboring, like, the biggest burden of all that no one knew. And, like, some people say, oh, he was prepping Harry to be a sacrificial lamb. Yes, he was. And what's wrong with that? In order to save the freaking Wizarding world, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I think we're going to see a really good way of, how that's going to be put into play. All right, now let's get to the next topic here with Eragon. Okay, so we got some Eragon news, and I'm going to read this off to you. So the live-action Eragon series is moving forward at Disney Plus. Todd Harthan and Todd Hilberg, they are going to be serving as co-showrunners, and the author Christopher Paolini is heavily involved with the series. Now, I'm telling you right now, they're copying the Percy Jackson blueprint. There's no doubt about it, which they should be. Percy Jackson, a very successful show right now. I love season 2, and the blueprint is very simple. You're going to go buy the books, but you're going to make a few small changes to make it fit the cinematic world, and that's how you do it. Season and I just literally just made a video today about what Eragon needs to do, because I do think Percy Jackson season 1 had a lot of mistakes, and season 2 corrected a lot of that. So I think if they learn from Percy Jackson season 1 and be better, they're going to really cook hard with this show. So I am really, really excited. But I mean, a few things that we need, man. They need to they need to show the pain of the magic. So in the Eragon world, whenever you use magic, it's a risk, man. If you use too much magic, you're going to die. It's just the reality. And also, the biggest thing is a Saphira, man. Saphira cannot be a pet. Saphira can't be a CGI hunk and clunk. Saphira is a person, man. One of my favorite dragons of all time. So they cannot fumble Saphira. So and those are just two simple things off the top of the dome. So, and the funny thing is, right, the reason why Eragon 2 didn't happen is because all of the main characters, they either killed them off or just wrote them out of the movie because the creators were idiots and tried to cinemify freaking Eragon. You can't Marvel Eragon either. So there's a lot going on that needs to be done right when it comes to Eragon, and I have faith that they're going to do it right, bro. I really do. Mostly because Christopher Paolini is in it, but I hope the showrunners are able to really help, because the only author I've seen that does it perfectly is George R. R. Martin. He's the only guy. He's the only guy I've seen that his notes on shows just makes the show better. It does. The only time I've seen him complain and I didn't see and it didn't turn over well, as in like he complained and I thought the showrunners' decisions were better, was, I'm pretty sure, House of the Dragon. I think some of the notes he had I thought was corny for House of the Dragon, to be honest with you. And I think I think the showrunners' decision for House of the Dragon was way better. Only show. All the other Game of Thrones shows will have been hits. So we'll have to see what happens, y'all. But I'm just like, I don't want them to fumble this, and I don't think they will. But what I also need them to do is I need them to go for it. With Percy Jackson season 1, Rick Riordan held back too much, and you could tell they were holding back, which is what pissed me off as a fan. And when it comes to adapting fantasy content like this, you can't hold back. Why is Lord of the Rings looked at as probably the greatest fantasy live action adaptation of all time? Do you know why? It's not because everything's Tolkien's lore or because it's perfect. Peter Jackson went for it. You know what I mean? Peter Jackson went for it, and he did that in every project. And that's why, as much as people hate The Hobbit, by the way, I think The Hobbit movies are so good, so underrated. He went for it in those too, even though and I'm pretty sure he wasn't even supposed to direct those movies. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure Chris Jackson was supposed to produce them, and he just ended up directing the movies. So we'll see what happens. Now, let's get into some business here, man. Woo, woo, woo. Pirates of the Caribbean. Mr. Jack Sparrow. Let's talk about these plot rumors. So, number one, it will focus on Jack Sparrow's son and likely Margot Robbie. Okay, so apparently we thought Jack Sparrow was going to come back, but apparently Margot Robbie is being worked back into this. This project is a priority for the new Disney leadership, and Christy Wilson Cairns, I don't know spell her. I'll say her last name, who wrote 1917, is in talks to write the script. This is good news all around, other than the Margot Robbie thing. I'm not sure what's going on, but let's break these details down. Okay, so apparently the son of Jack Sparrow will represent a handoff for the franchise. Now, Margot Robbie, there was supposed to be a female-led spinoff, but that got stalled, and it seems like Margot Robbie is now heavily linked to this reboot. And so, does this mean she's playing alongside Jack Sparrow's son, or will she be Jack Sparrow's mother? Now, let's talk about the status of Johnny Depp. His return right now is unconfirmed. Even though insiders do suggest the film is being designed to work with or without him, and the producer Jerry Bruckheimer has expressed the potential desire to have him back, likely in a supporting role. I have nothing against that happening. I don't. But this movie and the state of movies right now, You do not, I repeat, you do not do a Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Jack freaking Sparrow. If you do that, you're cooked. I don't care who's in it. And I love Margot Robbie as an actress, but you don't do it. This is what I would have done. If I was in charge, I would have did a Brothers Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I would have did it with Jack Sparrow, and I would have had Jason Momoa play Jack Sparrow's brother because I think Jason Momoa will fit. Jason Momoa is born to play roles like that. Imagine Jason Momoa in freaking uh, Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp. Imagine them together. That's a match made in heaven. It's a shame that you don't cast Jason Momoa for a movie like that. So book it. That's what I want to see. Okay, because I really do think that they could cook hard if they, do it right. Okay, so yeah, that's really much that's pretty much how I feel about that. But we'll have to see what happens, man, because I feel like it's going back and forth with either the Margot Robbie situation or that. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay, now next we have, I don't think I have art for this, so I'll take this off. Next we have Helldivers. Okay, so Jason Momoa was cast in Helldivers. Okay, now apparently he is set to play the lead role in Helldivers, and while specific character details are currently like under wraps, it's expected that he will play an elite soldier defending Super Earth. Okay, this is directed by Justin Lin. He's known for the Fast and Furious franchise, which is why he probably got tapped to do this movie. Let me just say this. This is smart. And I said this when this movie was first announced. You have to attach a really good star that could lead this operation. Jason Momoa is that guy. There's no doubt about it. He's made for stuff like this. I think this is a perfect casting. So yeah, I mean, there's not really much about this movie though that we know. We know he's a video game head, and this is his third video game adaptation movie. Minecraft, Street Fighter, and now this. So he's cooking right now. So really good casting, really good decision. And they're probably going to cast another big time star just like him. So we'll see what happens. But I want to get to this real quick. Okay. Now, the show is done, Henley, but I want to talk about some extra topics. I wanted to expand on one of my thoughts because I think some of y'all are not hearing me. Okay. So I was talking about the DCU on Monday or Tuesday, and a lot of people don't understand what my thinking is. Wonder Woman is not a marketable character like she was back in the day. And what I want you guys to understand with Wonder Woman is this. We are in an era in movies where you just can't poop out movies and make $1 billion. That time is over, which is why I fear for a project like Supergirl. I feared for Thunderbolts, and I didn't fear for Fantastic Four, but like I thought Fantastic Four was going to do 900 million, didn't even cross, I think, 700. We live in a different era, and Superman, who's supposed to be the center of the DCU, didn't even gross, I think, over 7. And like, look, I'm not saying the movie's probably not. I'm not here to have that conversation because I think that's the dumbest conversation. Who cares? Superman 2 is already happening. But if one of your biggest characters can't even do over 800 million, what makes you guys think a Wonder Woman movie is going to be profitable? Or even thinking like a Wonder Woman movie is going to make moves for the DCU that it should. I think Wonder Woman should be tagging along in a lot of these movies. And after your Justice League film, you then launch us into the Wonder Woman movie verse. I think for this first phase, you lock in on the characters you have. Aaron Pierre as Green Lantern, David Cornswell as Superman, and we need Batman. Lock in on those three, make them the Trinity for right now, and bring in the Flash, Wonder Woman, work everybody else in through those projects. That's what I think needs to happen. I don't think we need to see a Wonder Woman movie, and canceling Paradise Lost is a smart decision. I think that, but I do think it's kind of costly right now to try to work, Wonder Woman into having a movie right now. I don't see that, but at the same time, if a Wonder Woman movie does happen, I wouldn't be mad at it. I just fear that it might not be as successful as we think. That's my fear. And I really want the DC to be successful. I really want to see James Gunn do his thing, but I want him to make smart choices and smart decisions. I need these movies to be successful because the success of these movies will tell us, what happened. Bro, I'm sorry, you can't have GL as a Trinity member. He's never been that ever. And I get that. But you could say the same thing about Thor, You could even say the same thing about Captain America. Like Thor and Captain America and Iron Man were never as popular as they were before the MCU. If you came to me in 2007 and told me that Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America were going to be the center of the biggest superhero cinematic universe of all time, I would have laughed in your face. Being real. Because I would have said to you, no, the two characters that you center the MCU around is Spider-Man and the X-Men. But look at what's happened over the last 20 years. We live in a world where Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor are arguably as big as the X-Men. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think, bro. It's kind of crazy to think coming from the era that we came from, So we're in a different era. And I don't think that, look, and you got to understand, the reason why Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man are as popular as they are is because of how they were written, how they were handled, and how they were positioned by the studio. If they position Green Lantern to be the center, he will be that. Can we just have a rage-based stream where we discuss Doomsday and Brand New Day? Extension, here's my promise to you. Next Thursday, we will do a straight. All right. Extension, are you talking about where like I just bring everything, all of my notes, and we go through everything? Like, is that what you want? To where like I tell you everything I have for Avengers Doomsday. Is that what you want? If you want to, we would do that next Thursday. I 100% will do that for you next Thursday. We ought to talk about. Okay. Let's do it. I'm down. Dallas will be on it. We can cook. I just don't see it, but I get it. I just don't want to see that working with Green Lantern. What's wrong with Green Lantern being a pillar in the DCU instead of Wonder Woman? And look, don't use the God and Monsters title on me because I get it, but we haven't seen any new gods yet. So here's the thing that I'm trying to point to your way. Intergalactic space, Green Lantern. Combining of both space and world, Superman, world, Batman. I think for this phase that could work cohesively. I think it could. And I think that and if you had any other guy that wasn't Aaron Pierre, Jalen, I would agree with you. But if you have a guy like Aaron Pierre in your universe, you need to position him as one of the centers of the DCU. And I think he should be standing next to Corn Sweat and whoever our Batman is going to be. I don't think it should be the Flash. I don't think it should be Martian Manhunter. I hate Cyborg. He's one of the most. I've never liked Cyborg. I think Cyborg's one of the corniest characters. Never understood how he got worked into the Justice League order. Nightwing should have been an automatic favorite to go into the Justice League before even Cyborg. Topic for another day. But I don't see any of those guys taking that role except Green Lantern and John Stewart. And look, I would say Hal Jordan, but we don't have Hal Jordan, guys. We don't have Hal, so that's not happening. And plus, Hal Jordan and Batman despise each other, so that would be annoying. If you guys haven't read Green Lantern Rebirth, you'll see why. You'll see what I'm saying. Hal Jordan lands a nice punch on him in that comic book. It's pretty insane. I think I have it in my omnibus over here. By the way, guys, let me show you guys this, man. My wife for Christmas got me 2 Green Lantern omnibuses. Look at this, guys. So this is the first one. Jeff Johns Green Lantern Peak. Look how big it is. And then I got this one too. Another one. And just to let you guys know, around the time of Spider-Man, Brand New Day, we will be doing a giveaway. And I will be giving away a J. Michael Straczynski Spider-Man Omnibus. Basically where you get the whole entire J. Michael Straczynski Spider-Man run, which is one of my most favorite Spider-Man runs I've ever read. I am reading Spider-Man Torn, though. Spider-Man Torn is pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. But J. Michael Straczynski, and I think J. Michael is writing that. I think Straczynski is writing Spider-Man 4. But yeah, we will. So the new tradition that we are doing on Loreverse is that every single superhero movie that comes out, we will be doing a giveaway. So just so you know, Spider-Man, we're doing J. Michael Omnibus. For Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, I will be doing a Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow giveaway of the actual the volumes of the comic. I'm pretty sure it's like one book. We'll be doing a giveaway for that, and then for Avengers Doomsday, I will be giving away. Well, I will basically be doing. So I'm trying to find a Doctor Doom comic to find. So there's this run by Ed Brubaker, and I think it's called Will of Doom. No. That's a new one that's dropped. It's a run with the Doctor Doom, and it's really awesome. I'm probably going to sell, or I'm probably going to give away the whole set of volumes to you guys. And then for Secret Wars, we're obviously going to give away Avengers Secret Wars. The Jonathan Hickman run. We're gonna mail that to whoever wins, and then we're probably doing another one of Avengers versus X-Men 2, because that's another awesome books and story. Let me show you guys another cool volume. My sister for Christmas got me this Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four volume. This is volume 1 of the Fantastic Four, Jonathan Hickman's Fast Four, and this leads to Avengers Secret Wars and all that. And right now, let me show you what I'm reading right now. Right now, I'm reading. So I went to Second and Charles and Ollie's, and I got these. I'm reading the New 52 Nightwing. And what's cool about this New 52 Nightwing is that what's happening here is that the circus comes back to Gotham, and basically the guy that ran the circus, he left his will, and he left it all to Nightwing. So now Dick Grayson runs the circus that killed his parents. It's pretty awesome. And he's basically fighting against some crazy guy that's trying to kill him. And then like I have all these comics over here that I haven't read in volumes. Like I have to catch up on World's Finest because I'm reading the current run, but I haven't read the stuff before that. House of M. I've never read that, but I bought that volume, so I'm going to read that too. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm reading, and we're going to be doing hella giveaways for these comic books, which I'm really excited. So that's where we're going to end the show, man. I hope you guys had fun. Wait, let me just say, did you see what happened in DCKO? Okay, I picked up DCKO. I need to read it, but I do know that Absolute Batman and Batman fight. And let me just tell you this: if Absolute Batman waxes Batman, I will be genuinely pissed off. There's no way that Absolute Batman waxes Batman, bro. By the way, did y'all read Night Fight? That run was insane. But I will say my favorite run that I'm reading right now has to be Absolute Superman. And Absolute Superman issue number, I think it's 14 or 13. Absolute Superman issue number 13, I think it's 13, is probably the greatest run or the greatest single issue comic I've ever read in my life. I legit cried. Let me just check to make sure I got the cover. Let me see. Absolute. Wait, I have my Comic Geeks app. Hold up. Let me see. I think it's Absolute Superman issue number. It might be 12 actually, but when I tell y'all this run or this single issue comic or this issue made me cry legit tears, bro. I legit cried. Let me see. DC Comics, Absolute Superman 14. Okay, Absolute Superman. Okay, here it is. Absolute Superman issue number 15. That comic is the greatest single issue comic I've ever read in my life. I shed real human tears. Like I cried my eyes out. It's the most beautiful Superman comic I've ever read in my lifetime. Most beautiful comic ever. Bro, facts. Everyone's hating on Superman. And it's crazy. Now, let me tell you why. And this is why I can't stand when people steal other people's opinions and they don't read it for themselves. The reason why Absolute Superman gets hate is because a lot of people didn't like the female arc that they went on with his mom, which I will say it was underwhelming, but it didn't bother me once I read it. And at the time, like one of my friends, ex-friends, was kind of like crashing out about it. So I didn't read it. But then after I read it for myself, I was like, bro, peak. Now, Absolute. Yeah, bro, I couldn't get into either. I tried to read Absolute Flash, couldn't really get into it. And I'm not even touching Absolute Green Lantern. I'm sorry. But I heard that Absolute Manhunter is fire, but I never had bought it. But I am reading the current Nightwing run, and Martian Manhunter and that is pretty awesome. Okay, but the real question is, did you cry? What? Brother, I cried so hard at the end of Endgame that I choked on my spit. That's how hard I cried. When Tony Stark died, and this might be sad, I cried. I haven't cried that hard since my wedding. Here's a fun fact that you guys might not know about me. My wife walked down the aisle to the Avengers Endgame funeral song that Tony like that Tony's funeral song. And when I tell you guys, I cried my eyes out. And low key, I still wonder to this day, was I crying because of her or was I crying because of the music? I guess we'll never know. But I cried my freaking eyes out, bro, when she walked down that aisle to the Avengers theme song. And I didn't even know until she came down the aisle. But yeah, Absolute Superman is hella peak, bro. Y'all need to read it. I read a lot of Superman for some reason, and it's crazy because like I wasn't the biggest Superman guy like for comics, and now that I'm back in comics, right? Superman's like he's the hero that I read the most. I read a lot of Superman. I read a lot of Batman. I'm reading like 4 different Batman runs right now. I read Captain America. I'm reading everybody. The one I should have picked up Iron Man 1, bro. I should have picked up Iron Man. I heard that the Iron Man comics fire. I didn't buy it, but I listened to comics explain it. Now I pulled the whole entire series. I was like, I need that second, third, fourth, fifth issue. That's beautiful. Yeah, bro. When she walked down that song and I cried my eyes out. I legit dropped to the floor crying, and my idiot friends, they were laughing. Have DC done anything for black characters? And did I hear about the milestone event? Oh, I did hear about the milestone event. You'll have this month. DC done anything for black characters? What do you mean when you say that? Like, are you asking me like what have they done to highlight black characters? Is that what you're saying? So what is funny is there was kind of movement on the internet that was going around, and I'm not sure if it was started by King Lion or whoever, but I saw him do. Oh no, I think King Lion talked against it, but I saw this movement that was happening where like a lot of people were saying like, yo, like DC does black characters wrong. Also, the whole like ordeal going on, and I think King Lion spoke against it. I forget, but I saw other comic creators kind of talking about it. So this will be my take. Okay, I think that when it comes to a brand like DC, okay, now I'm going to say this in the most like, don't take anything I say as mean right now. Okay, this is my thought process. When someone like Scott Snyder, right, is trying to make a story, I don't think Scott Snyder says, let me grab this black character and throw them in here because I think they'll do good. I think like a Scott Snyder, who's a genius, will say, I want to grab the most popular characters here that have the most backstory, that have the best, whatever, and I'm going to put them in here. And I think that's the main viewpoint for most DC writers. The thing is that I think that with a lot of the black characters that they have, a lot of them, I think it's hard to flesh them out in a lot of stories, which is why I think that when it comes to black characters, DC needs to make better black characters. Some that we have are just corny. Like, I've never been into Black Lightning. I thought he sucked. I'll be honest. John Stewart, GOAT to me. Vixen, GOAT to me. There are some iterations where even Hawkgirl is black. And whatever you want to call it. Like sometimes she's black, sometimes she's white. It just depends. But I think that's cool. Cyborg, another popular character, which I can't stand Cyborg, but Cyborg is a very popular character. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, he's been so fleshed out, in a crazy way. So I think that DC, and yeah, I don't think that like or another character, right? Val Zod, he's a failed character. When I think that if Val Zod was written right, oh my goodness, he'll be one of the best characters out. But I feel like a lot of writers haven't fleshed them out well. So I need DC to make better black characters and flesh them out. But I mean, another black character that's really big still is Aqualad. They have done much with him either, and I think Aqualad is an amazing character. So and look, Aqualad did get fleshed out in was it Young Justice, but I feel like they haven't really worked at it. And my thing with that is like, you gotta, and also what has happened now is because there's not enough black characters, they race swap, and I'm not a fan of race swapping. I'm not. And some race swaps I don't care. Like Wally West being black, I could care less, honestly. But like I feel like there's so many characters that they just race swap them, and I'm like, make more characters. Like you can make an Amazonian that's black, you can make a so black, but this is the hard thing about black characters, right? It's like, and this is why race is such a tricky subject because like you want more diverse characters, right? But I also want them to make black characters because they think the character's cool, not because they're black, if that makes sense. Like, because to me, this is my opinion, right? To me, if you're gonna make a character only because you want to make a random black character, that's not genuine to me. Like that's not genuine to me. I don't think that's genuine. You know, like when they created Superman, I don't think they said, "Oh, we're gonna make Superman because he's white." You know, they made Superman because they just thought Superman's a dope character, and that's my whole thing. It's like when you're making a dope character, remove the race for a second and just make the character dope. And then when you decide what race they're going to be, cool. But I don't think race should be and I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I don't think race should be the defining factor of whether a character is cool or not. Like make the character cool and then figure out the race and make more black characters that way. You know what I mean? Where they have fleshed out stories, they have fleshed out lore. Their lore connects to the bigger, storytellings of DC, and their whole entire identity isn't centered around their race. Because think about it, right? Superman is a Kryptonian, but his identity isn't centered around being white. Batman, his identity isn't centered around being white. Even when you bring in someone like Static Shock, he's a universal character, honestly. And I don't think a lot of his here and I know they have involved a lot of culture in there, but I don't think that everything has a center around him being black, because that's not how the stories have been told. You know what I mean? That's not how all of the stories have been told. I feel like the same about Sam. I don't like Sam because he's black. I like Sam because he's a cool character. You know what I mean? So the focus needs to be cool, like making more diverse characters without having to force it. That's the best way to say it. Like, don't force feed me a character because they're black, but give me a character that you have faith in it and that you think is cool, and they just happen to be black. You know, and I think there's a lot of people that have cool ideas and cool characters that just happen to be black. That's my thing. Because it's that I've seen situations where we've been force fed diverse characters, and the only thing that they sell us on is that they're black. And then everything else about the character sucks. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's genuine. I think and I think that's pandering in a corny way, and I don't think that's fair for people that want to see more diverse characters in all of these universes. Like have the highlight. Let's see. I just want more solo runs for other DC characters besides Batman. Again, I'm not upset we're getting more Batman, but at the same time DC is still you're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. And DCKO's been doing and DCKO did a great job of shooting Batman. Obviously he had his own run going on, but like DCKO was focused on like really the Superman and all the other characters. I'm still waiting for some Static, Love, or Vixen. Even Vixen, dude, Static would be fire. That'd be fire. But I'll give DC Comics credit. They've been killing it with comics wise, while I feel Marvel, I don't know. I just can't get into it like I do with DC movie wise. Okay, Jalen, have you read Black Panther Intergalactic? That comic run, bro. 10 out of 10. If you haven't read Black Panther Intergalactic, that's an active run right now. You need to buy that. Go to your comic shop tomorrow and buy both. I think there's 2 issues out already. Dude, peak. If you don't believe me, if you want to see some of the panels, I have them in my boxes over there, bro. It is some of the best stuff you'll read, man. Black Panther Intergalactic. And another reason why I would read Black Panther Intergalactic, because I think they're using that to shape. That's how they're going to shape Black Panther in the future of the MCU. I'm telling you, they're that rumor that Black Panther is going to space, I think it's based off of that comic book. But yeah, it's an active run right now. It's been out for only 2 months. Black Panther Intergalactic, fire run. One of the best comics I'm reading right now that's active. Bro, it is amazing, bro. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me grab it for you. One second. Panther Intergalactic. It's my first issue. Okay, here we go. Look at these covers. This is the first cover. Black Panther, Intergalactic. You probably can't see it. That's issue 1. And then for issue 2, I got a variant cover. Bro. Gas, bro. Cover is gas. Now, just to tell you about this a little bit without spoiling, basically, bro, crazy, right? Dude, look at that cover. And this variant is insane. Insanity. Bro. It's that good, bro. It's that. Yo, let me show you some more variants I have, because hold on. I got some pretty cool stuff, bro. Now, I will argue my DC variants are way better than this. I don't lie, but I got some pretty cool variant covers. If you're reading Spider-Man, if you're not reading Spider-Man Torn, bro, pick it up. Look at this cover. You probably can't see it. This is a variant cover for Spider-Man Torn. Oh man, I was gonna show you guys. So awesome. But yeah, so right now, active. I'm reading Spider-Man Torn. I'm reading obviously Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's just kind of fell off for me. Ultimate Endgame. I heard that the second issue sucks. Bro, are you reading Ultimate Endgame? Because I heard that it sucks, but I haven't read the second issue yet. Let me know. And then I tried reading Sorcerer Supreme, couldn't really get into it. But Marvel doesn't have a lot of like consistent runs. But Black Panther Intergalactic is something that I've been really buying. I also bought Cyclops issue 1 that just dropped yesterday. I hope that's fire, because I need more Marvel stuff to read. But yeah, I saw it. I didn't like it. Yeah, I heard it's bad, bro. And issue 1 was kind of suspect anyway. So, yeah. But yeah, dude, you need to watch. You need to read that Intergalactic Black Panther, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm gonna say one word for you. Bast is in it, bro. And when you see what Bast does, you're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna lose your mind, bro. You're gonna lose your mind. You'll lose your mind. So yeah, I'm gonna end the show here tonight, guys. I had fun talking about comics. You know what, guys? When we have our episodes, I'm gonna add some extra time in the end, so we can just talk about comics and talk about nerd stuff and just have fun. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, y'all. And peace out. And Jalen, shout out to you, bro. And shout out to Extinction. I had a fun time talking to you guys. Jalen, hop on next week, bro, so we can talk some more comics, because Carter reads too, and me and Carter go to the comic book store together. So and he's a big Spider-Man head, so we got a lot to talk about. I'll see you guys next week, and peace out.